Damn, I can't hear you. I heard you go ding. Clickety clack. Reaches under his desk. Switches the secret console. Insert dial up. Oh, yes, that'll check.
Jem is from the future.
I am from the future.
Did you make these?
A friend of mine made
plywood glasses?
Yeah. They were designed to stop me getting distracted at my desk. They've got blinkers on them. And then I hot glued some sunglasses onto them. I think they're quite stylish.
They look like if somebody was like trying to DIY their own augmented reality glasses, but like they only had a Shapoko.
Yes. All about the AR. Yeah.
Yes.
Would you wear a VR headset at work?
Yeah. Oh, for sure. When you're in your own company, I mean.
Yeah.
Sure.
I think I would too.
I mean, would I be more productive or less productive?
I don't know.
Because I can't tell. Which one would I be?
How many screens do I have set up?
Somewhere. How's it going?
Yeah, not bad. Not bad. Just, a bit sleepy, hanging out, drinking my coffee. How are you?
I've caught up on sleep, so much better. Not that it was necessarily bad, but you meet a bunch of people that you've chatted with online for years, and you're in a cool city, and you're without responsibilities. Yeah. You stay out kind of late.
I'm sure.
So, and then I got up too early to go to the show, and I was like, I'm sleeping less than when I'm home with my infant. What is this?
What city was it in?
Chicago. McCormick Place is the convention center down on the waterfront. And so you walk out of that and you're basically in like this cool, like the buildings we studied in architecture school are like right there and amazing as soon as you walk out of this place. And so it's easy to just get lost in the city for a while.
Cool.
And spend too much money and, it's good.
It's awesome. Yeah, tell me about the show.
Yeah.
Let's get straight into it.
The show...
How many Cobots did you come home with?
Let's see. God, how did I not come home with any little... somebody else said this. The swag wasn't as impressive as it has been, I guess. But, man, there should have been some little toy Cobots. How was there not toy Cobots that I saw? I'd say that the first take is I knew this going in, but I was so vastly underestimating how little I would end up seeing in basically the first afternoon I got there, and then I had a whole day, and I spent most of that day there. And then this third day, it opened at 10 in the morning, which felt late. And then, I had to like 11:30, so like an hour and a half to race around some more. So of the 1.2 million square feet, I feel like I saw like less than half of it. That's probably not true, especially because all of the Instamachinist people were in the metal removal area, which is like CNC machines. And so I just kind of ended up wanting to stay there and socialize, browse. Not that that was bad. It just, I heard Saunders say this on the bomb afterwards from being there. He's like, I just can't get anything accomplished. Right? He's so well known that it doesn't really, like he's basically anywhere he walks, he gets not mobbed, but just people want to talk to him.
Sure.
And I did not have nearly that problem, but I know what he means. As like, I just wanted to like talk to the people that I've talked to for so long and not met in person. Way more time needed, but also I cannot fathom being there a week. I definitely think I'll try to go again for longer, especially if I have some type of like mission. And like Dylan, I heard him say a couple times, he had like appointments and like planned meetings with all these different vendors. And I was like, I want to see the big stuff, like what are the big machines? How about the small ones? Where's the robots?
Yeah, cool.
So not as much plan. I think it'll be easier to plan in the future for sure to like I had goals. The one vendor I had looked up in advance of like directly useful for our business was I was trying to look at strip brush for like dust boots. One vendor had that listed in their profile, and I found them in this like literally this like these giant rooms, huge rooms. You can't see the end of them basically through all the stuff. And then there was at the end of one of the spaces, the halls, it said more vendors this way. It was like a down the hall in a shorter, smaller room, smaller areas where their booths were. And I found them, and they were both kind of like in the booth, like halfway asleep.
No.
I think they were from China. And I like walked up, and they were both like so excited to like talk to somebody. Actually, I think they were in Taiwan. And I was like, "Do you have flexible strip brush?" And they're like, "Oh, no."
The one thing.
Like I was like the first one to come talk to them, I swear, that day, and they were just like, "Oh no, we don't have that one thing." There's a lot of other good, useful things to look at.
Are you inspired?
It's just funny, in a way that I didn't expect to be, which is like the whole reason to go. I think totally. Is like I knew that was the case. I brought this up before, but I said it to somebody at the show that asked, you kind of ask each other, "Why are you here? What are you doing here? What are you looking for?" And some people, I think a lot of people I talked to ended up having like no main reason, similar to myself, I suppose. But I referenced this book that I only read part of, but it was the part I really appreciated was this dancer from New York that he wrote a book about like how to, I don't even know the whole reason for the book, but the thing that stuck out to me was that she like creatively dates herself, meaning like she'll take herself to places to be inspired. The museum, for me, it's like hardware stores or shows or like weird places I can see things that relate to my business or my interests that inspire me. So it's like I see this as a way of dating myself in a certain sense of like taking my creative self on a outing.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, it's like the ultimate visit to the hardware store, wandering the aisles, soaking in information.
Oh yeah, yes. So many machine tool companies that I'd never heard of.
Have you read that Rick Rubin book, The Creative Act?
I have it. I started it, and then
yeah,
I brought it up here, and I never finished it. Did you read it?
Yeah, I've fallen asleep listening to it a few times. I've read it like via audiobook a couple of times. Sort of, it puts me to sleep because his voice is just so damn soothing. But it's got some really good stuff in it. So you just reminded me with that sort of dating your creative self. He's got like, it's a weird format of book. It's got all these little snippets. It's not sort of very continuous.
Maybe I can
so many little nuggets in there.
Keep my attention then.
He's got lots of little nuggets in there about sort of creativity and staying inspired.
Right.
Definitely worth a look.
Right. Yeah. So, I mean, I knew going in that was going to be the case, and a big reason for doing it. I think the top benefit, though, is just like there's such a good community.
Yeah.
And we talked about this in a couple different groups of people, of just the people involved. And like, I feel like unique to maybe it's generational, but like maybe unique to this industry. I feel like there's such a like movement of like, we need people in this industry and we need to help. Everybody's kind of like, maybe Saunders even started this kind of like, I'm going to share what I know kind of thing. And there's no like treating you like a dumbass for not understanding how to use a reamer, like, and it's just kind of across the board. I remember talking about that with a couple different groups of people, and it's just kind of awesome to see. And like, I bought some tool or something and then see that person that you bought it from, to see them in person, and people that have bought tool tag towers, and like just a cool vibe, I think, is maybe my favorite part of it.
Cool. Great.
Saw Eric of Clear Irons.
Yeah.
He kind of came up to me real fast at the Kern Within Tolerance meetup, and I was talking to somebody else, and it's like, I didn't recognize his face. and because he doesn't really show himself in his Instagram. And I was like, "Oh, hi, who are you?" And he kind of looked like one of my clients locally, and I was like, "What are you doing here?" Thinking like, this is not your industry. Why would you be here? And it's like, "Oh, I'm Eric. Sorry." And so we chatted for a while. It's good to meet and catch up, and we messaged quite a bit.
Yeah, awesome. I'm hopeless in those contexts of distinguishing people's Insta handles from their real selves.
It's so hard. Right.
Let's just show me a profile and I'll remember who you are. Oh, yeah. We've chatted. Nice.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. We were talking about that. You should just have like your Instagram tag pretty on much, you somewhere.
Yeah, you need it. Awesome. Good. And work? How did work go? While you're away? Were you away over a weekend or during working?
No, the middle of the week. Yeah. Weirdly slow in a couple of regards of like, we've had a decent amount of job shop work. I didn't really schedule it, but there was just nothing pressing while I was gone. So Ricky handled a lot of emails, and our product sales are just dead slow. Yeah, the slowest they've ever been. Luckily, we have job shop work that's coming in. I don't know where. Like, it's just like weirdly flipped for the last month and a half. Right. So
not bad. Flippy floppy. Web sales are doing pretty good at the moment. Trailing 30 days are significantly stronger than they have been for a while, which is nice because I don't feel like I've done anything actively to make that happen. I did add a discount to the configurator to encourage people to use it, and that's anecdotally that's been helping. More people have been checking out via the config.
Is it like automatic?
No, I couldn't work out how to do that. It's just like use this discount code if you've used the configurator. So it's pretty hacky. Oh. And the discount code's published all over the website. So in theory, anyone could use it, misuse it. So I kind of have to keep an eye on that. Thankfully, we don't have that many orders. It's very easy to sort of check. But yeah, website works.
Charge them more if they haven't used the configurator?
Well, I'd have to have an awkward conversation, wouldn't I? It's like,
what are you doing
with that discount code? But yeah, I think I did chat to the VividWorks guys about whether we can just apply an auto discount. But I think the way I need to set it up is just relink all the components, all the SKUs that the configurator uses. Just make copies of those at a new price point. And so that the configurator checks out with those components rather than the standard component. And then that would do it automatically, effectively.
Yeah, I was trying to think of what I feel like Debris Rooms might have an answer for us. I was trying to think because there's, you get all these apps that like will automatically give people a specific unique gift discount code in like a marketing sense. And I was trying to think of how you could like, I don't know, maybe like at the checkout, once they've added stuff to cart, you could like have a button pop up and then they click that and that would apply the coupon.
Yeah. These are all the things I've never got into with Shopify. Anyway, it seems to be working for now.
GPT.
Yeah, I'm sure.
For you.
Don't seem to have an issue with it and seems to be working. So, yeah, that's been good. And sales have been pretty steady in general, actually. The last 5 weeks, distributions on average have been over target. So we're kind of catching up a little bit, clawing back some percentages.
Amazing.
On earlier months where it dipped. So yeah, it's kind of just ticking along. We're winning some chunkier custom jobs lately, which have helped fill in the gaps. And just got a deposit last night for that job. The people whose purchase order I didn't want to sign previously in the last episode hadn't heard. They'd never responded to my email saying, I'm not going to sign your purchase order. And the one where I went back saying, just accept the thing in quotient. No response. And then on Friday, when I wasn't at work, I got a call from their site manager on that build, just randomly saying, "Oh yeah, there's a bit of just checking ceiling heights. I'm going to build a bulkhead for you for that spot where those shelves are going. I'm like, cool, sounds good. Just to be clear,
I love that when you
I
get
haven't
like
ordered anything yet.
You haven't done shit here. What are you doing? Yeah,
just letting you know the office hasn't actually ordered this
that
stuff.
happens all the time.
He's like, oh, okay. Anyway, I'll follow up. No word. And then Monday afternoon, I was like, I should check again. It's been a week since I heard from them, or since I last sent them something. So I sent them another email saying, hey, just a reminder, it'd be great to get that deposit. Let me know if, if you need anything else. And then it appeared.
Yeah.
They still haven't contacted me, but the deposit has appeared. So success, I would say.
I'm annoyed for you.
I mean, it's good. It means they're following our process, which is a win. Deposit means we can go ahead and, yeah. A bit of a saga,
cool.
but
so you didn't have to go through the stupid purchase order.
Engage with their purchase order. No.
Sounds like a drug deal or like a we don't negotiate with terrorists.
So that's good, and
that's what we always joke with my daughter.
Yeah,
when she's like being a craphead, we don't negotiate with terrorists.
Just wait till you have a toddler.
Getting there. Very mobile now.
Yeah, awesome. And what else is happening? I'm on my 5th day of taking a little mini vacation from social media. Day 5 today of having.
Are you on vacation or just social media
vacation? I've deleted all the apps off my phone end of last week because I realized I'd posted heaps in the lead up to the studio sale. And I'd been very engaged there, sort of trying to drum up interest and answer people's questions and stuff. And then the studio sale had happened and I'd just gone dead. I hadn't posted at all. And I'd just gone back to being a time suck and distraction. And I wasn't actually posting. And so I realized, had this realization end of last week. It's like, cool, I'm not doing anything effective here. Let's just kill all these apps for a while.
Right.
It's been delightful.
I've never really done that.
It's really nice.
Probably should.
I've been reading books.
Probably should.
To put myself to sleep.
That I cannot imagine. Yeah, I really want to do that. And then I end up not doing it and frustrating myself.
Yeah, I know, same. Yeah, actually reading real paper books, although the book I picked off the shelf is like the original novel, I Am Legend, which is basically a vampire thriller and not particularly conducive to sleep. But despite that,
just
I've been sleeping better and I just feel my brain feels better. So that's been nice.
Nice. That's good. I should do that.
But we just quickly circling back to OMTS. Robot friends. I know you did some robot friend research. What have you got for us?
Yes. That was the thing. I was trying not to just bury you with nonstop IMTS thoughts. I did not do an extensive research practice of robots, but I stumbled onto there's a lot of robots and I'm making a video of a little bit of a recap. And in one, I filmed it all vertical on accident.
Sure.
So I think it's going on YouTube as a vertical recap of
vertical long form.
It's going to be weird. I don't know. I guess watch it on your phone. I just, as I'm going to like edit it, I'm like, this is weird. Like, why did I do this? Like, I didn't even say. I just like started doing it and didn't think about it, I guess. But there was one company I found that he kind of like immediately was, I wouldn't say defensive, but explained, because I kind of was like, why? When I walked into this booth, and the Aegis Rebel, Aegis is the company. He basically said, I was like, why is it so cheap? Like, why are your robots so cheap? Because like every robot is $20,000+, the Cobot style, right? Like something you can be in the same space as, that's safe. And or you need some crazy integration cost that's also the same amount as the robot. Somebody has to come help you. And this thing is $6,000 to $8,000. It is made out of like its body is made out of plastic. And his take was that it's cheaper because they are primarily an injection molding company. Like they make plastic things. And so they can make it cheaper, which almost felt like a weird, like backwards way of answering. I think frankly, they just want to make a low cost robot arm, and they're doing it. It is a little weird to see it out of plastic, but like it looks like a lower cost version of a UR robot that's not the same color. It's black and orange.
I mean, if it's only got a 2 kilo payload, which a lot of those Cobots have a very low payload anyway, like it's not doing that much work, right?
Right.
So why not?
No, right. I have a little short video of it, not really doing anything, but just kind of like showing it. And it comes with free software. It comes with software. You can go right now on the web and just like play with it and do like a twin, I guess, of what it can do.
Cool.
I think maybe there's a decent amount of cost in the end effectors, like what you can attach to the ends of the hand, after the wrist. That's probably costly. That didn't include that, but there was no additional cost supposedly than the robot with I don't know if you get a control device or not, but it was like a tablet and it looked like a slick, simple iPad control.
Was it its own tablet, or did you just run their software on an iPad?
It looked very like industrial, like the tablet thing. So I don't know if you get that or you have to buy a tablet and then put the software on it and get your own little, toddler case for it. But
so it looks like I can just buy one.
It was very appealing
for $11,000 on DigiKey, the 6 DOF version of it. It's not bad. Cool. Or 8.
Yeah, I was surprised. 9, it was very cheap.
I'm curious. Okay.
I don't go into many raffle giveaways, but I put myself in for that one because they were giving one away. I was like, no, that'd be kind of fun. I'd take one of those.
Yeah, that would be fun.
I'll put a link to... They got a decent website for it. It's not as bad as some of these companies where like you get an email from one of the vendors and it's like, go visit our website. And it's like company.com/news. And I was there to look at like an end mill, and I can't even find the end mills on the website.
Cool. Okay.
That was exciting. I don't know. I don't have any main uses. I asked him which they're going to say this, I think, but if it was easy to readapt to different uses, and he, of course, said yes.
Of course.
But, I mean, I don't know what else you would say. No, it's really hard. You don't want to do that.
Oh, it comes with
But I just kind of took it as like I just kind of took it as like a low cost, without doing much of any research, low cost, like, this is what I was hoping for, like, not well marketed, not commonly seen, like, robot that's trying to compete with like a UR, but
lightweight,
a little less polished.
Sure, which is what we wanted, right? And it comes with a protective cover, so I can put it to work in the wax stepper.
There you go.
A sock, Robo sock. Yeah,
on it.
It comes with a glove. You can get a glove for $389 Australian dollars. And
did you really?
Yeah, I wonder how
if this becomes part of your desktop assembly set. You can get the automation kit, and you've made some like really adorable glove that it can wear to dip into the hot wax afterwards.
Like, I wonder what would be involved in just making your own end effectors for something like this. It's just like printing stuff.
I mean,
why not?
I met Ariel from Austere Manufacturing, and they were the first ones I had seen to do the kind of like DIY. Have you seen their videos? They have like, I think, Speedios, and they printed and like did all these like little macros to automate manufacturing, basically what Gimbal has now. Remember the little flipper and the little part grabber with the spindle?
Cool.
So they've made that into a product, but it's very similar to what Austere did, that they're not trying to productize it. So they print their own little grippers. I think they have some shunk hardware that helps do that, but basically tool changes to a gripper, and then it goes down with like air, or I think it's air, and pinches and moves parts around and into a pneumatic vise and stuff. So you can absolutely print your own. I think you need something that actuates, but then you can print whatever the grip part you need.
Yeah. Cool. Okay. Good. Mission achieved. Thank you.
If you're an educational unit of some sort, you can get this Aegis Rebel for $800.
Wow.
Maybe that's a mistake. Took a zero off.
Well, as I said to you when you sent me a short video of it, I was like, I'll just take two, mount it to something mobile, and it can just walk itself around.
He said you're going to put it on a skateboard and it's going to follow you.
It's like dragging itself.
Kick, push. One needs a shoe. The other's perfect. Got a little gripper.
Oh, cool. Good. I'll have one. Thank you. On the wax dipping, we've pretty much taken it into production now. It's been good. It's going pretty well. Just haven't powered up the deep fryer, all 14 kilowatts of deep fryer, but we have been using our shop-made deep fryer just fine. And it's working beautifully. It still has refinement around the sort of recipe and the finish and the times we dip each part and stuff like that, but that's all stuff we'll just work out. The biggest issue with it is that it creates a hazard around the shop because it makes the floor where if you got a bit of wax on your boot, you walk it out into the shop, it turns the concrete floor into an ice rink just in certain patches.
Have you ever been behind the McDonald's desk?
No, but I think I need to. Like, what have they got?
It's about the same kind of vibe, I think. It's like incredibly slick back there. That's the last time you're like, you got a McDonald's situation.
Yeah, we do. And I don't really have a good solution for it yet. I did when Rowan was dipping last week. I made a little boot bath for him so that as he exited the area, he could step into a little tray of wax and grease remover and just like rinse his boots off. But I think there might be a solution there, something like that. Or you just kind of...
Where's the main mess come from? Like dripping off the parts?
As you sort of exit the tank. And this will improve as we make like bespoke wire baskets to hold components, I think, and they can drip off more thoroughly. We'll get less on the floor. And yeah, I think it's refinable. It's just a bit of a like gotcha at the moment. Like if the wax dipper's on, it's like you got to be careful in certain spots.
It's like when you first learn how to paint, it's just all over you, you know?
Yeah.
You can't control the paint.
But other than that challenge, it's working pretty well.
Did you get any more depth into, that's a weird way to say that, because how deep it's actually seeping in?
I haven't.
You did that test and like, it seemed like it was totally soaked through.
Did that one test. I haven't gone back. I haven't revisited that yet, so I don't know. Don't have further answers on that. We did put some components up on the roof to weather test them just out of curiosity. Because this process has come from weatherproofing bee boxes to sit out in the field for years. We're curious to see how weather resistant we've made an interior timber grade. But yeah, it's good. It feels like all the product development we've done lately has all been sort of internal process driven because we've got the tumblers cooking as well now. The abrasive finishing happening on all the little feed and caps, so the little components. I'm still in a pretty rudimentary stage, but I've just made like this stainless steel tumbler that just fits onto the lathe and takes a few hundred feed or caps at a time. And that sits on the lathe at low speed for like a day or a day and a half, depending on the component, with crushed walnut shells, because they're crazy hard. The Rockwell was like harder than tool steel or something on the crushed walnut shells, which is just blows my mind.
Jiminy Christmas.
But yeah, that seems promising.
Whoa.
So yeah, lots of little
cool.
process improvements to try and reduce how much labor we're putting into these components at the moment. It's satisfying. Good. I like doing that stuff.
Right. Definitely. Yeah. That's fun. I would love to get back into some of that. Or currently, our biggest challenge right now has always been the dust boot brushes and the dust boot plates. We've had a couple instances, seems like from the same batch, and we cannot figure out why, where the brush just instantly came out of the brush plate. And they've been made the same way for many, 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 many months, trying to find ways to make them captive with like a T-slot cutter kind of thing, and finding it challenging to not have to custom order one to test this idea out. So yeah, really frustrating. Both the brush being still a problem in deforming. We've got a test sample of a different type we want to try, but we also want to put the backer, it's like the thing that all the brush bristles go into like basically like make it so it cannot come out of the plate that it's mounted
really
into.
Captive relationship,
which is hard.
I can imagine.
Yeah, I didn't get any progress. What was really interesting about the show, I thought about this kind of like while I was there, like Onsrud was there, which is the giant big well-known router company in America, and they only had metalworking related router things. And I was thinking like, cool, I'm happy to see this. They're big, crazy 5-axis machines in 2 different styles and one big flatbed router. But I was like, why is there no woodworking? I guess it's just like too much to cross over, because there's also like additive, and then like the hot thing in additive is metal 3D printing in all types, tool steel, stainless steel, sintering, but things for those, all these different types of like crazy hybridized plastic FDM printers, but then like no wood at all. And it must just be because they have their own shows already.
Separate shows, yeah. It's kind of like that here. They separate those metal cutting and woodworking shows a bit, which I've always found a little bit annoying, because I'm not right in the crossover zone, but I'm super curious about both. Like I find both just as in terms of that like creative stimulation, I find both zones or worlds just equally sort of curious and interesting and stimulating.
Well, it's just crazy to me for how big of a show it is, that and all the random stuff there is. There's software. There's no. It's a manufacturing show. You know, like of course you can go down the rabbit hole of like there could be all types of manufacturing. But I just found it odd. After a while, I was like, oh, that's weird. I guess it's just not enough of an industry that it needs to be here for this reason or something. But I think one of the things the other thing I didn't expect, which was good, came from chatting with other machinists there. And you were doing the thing of like, what are you here for? And I was like, well, I have this kind of like potential for a couple different product ideas that I'm kind of ruminating on how to make them better than maybe I currently would. And we have basically vertical mills, if you consider the router a vertical mill, in that same concept of like how the machine moves and such. And I was kind of having this repeated conversation about, I'm looking for like ways to automate. You know, I don't necessarily want to buy new machines, but I'm curious to see what's out there. Is it Cobots? Is it like a cell that gets attached to something, and all this stuff is fairly expensive. Like the cell that attached to the Brother Speedio U500 2XD or something like that, second version, was the same cost as the machine, right? It's like $160,000 for the machine, $160,000 for the robot cell. It's a lot of money, but like you can see how it would pay off. And I'm thinking like, I want a $6,000 robot maybe. And so I'm talking about these things, and Pat from Old Boys, I was chatting with him about it, and he's like, you're probably not going to like this answer, but have you thought about a lathe? And I was like, yes, but no, that's interesting. And so we talked for a while about, in particular, the parts I was thinking about making, not cylindric or circular shaped in at all. They're all square sides. And he was saying his experience with a shop he worked at where a guy was really good with a lathe, and he would walk around the shop and find other parts that were being made and be like, I'm going to take this and this because they fit within the through bore, and you can basically just instantly automate anything that fits through there that's not way off bounds of what like a live tool lathe can do. And I was like, whoa, okay, this is an interesting new like. So I spent the next roughly half day thinking about that and looking at lathes, because I never really like took them seriously, or not, for myself, just never thought about it. So that's kind of, I think, maybe my biggest interesting thought right now.
Curious. Yeah, cool. As someone with not a lathe but a bar-fed mill, can certainly speak to the advantage.
Bar-fed vertical lathe bar.
Can certainly speak to the power of the bar feeder and automatic cutoff, which a lathe offers potentially.
Right.
Certainly nice being able to just hit print.
Yeah.
Aside from USB errors, which still plague us, but it just runs.
Right.
Yeah.
How what's the walk away time on that? It's like a full stick. What's your best?
3. If we didn't have a USB error, over and out. But that's pretty rare.
Huh? That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Right. Just need a little pencil box up there. Drop another one in.
Another one in. Yeah, it sits right behind Johnny. So Johnny,
you put a rebel on it.
Johnny's always turning around and clearing errors or reloading bars or whatever. But
right,
it's a good thing.
I think the coolest robot automation thing, which there's a decent amount of. I have a video I can share, but Chris Zapatini and this company called Lights Out Manufacturing. I think you're Montana or Idaho, I forget where. They had a U500 5-axis Haas and a Cobot. I think it's just a UR25 maybe, one of the like standard universal robots, and a slant like table with V-shaped holders for stock. And they had 25 different sizes of stock, like 25 unique parts. And this robot could autonomously, I didn't sit there and watch all 25, but their pitch was it would run all 25 parts without changing anything, putting it into the device, machining it, taking it out when it's done. I don't know if it flipped over to an op 2 or they were all off 1 parts, which would kind of be a little bit of a disappointment. But like I saw Justin of Toolpath make a post about it and being really impressed about it. I was too. That was crazy to see so many different. You don't usually see like, a table filled with the same stock and it's running op 1s and it takes it out and puts it down. And so theoretically it's like finishing 25 unique parts in stacks of those too. And his point was like all these, 2 or 3 people, 4 people for the company showcasing it were basically just standing around talking with us while the machine's just running 25 unique parts. And he's like, when people come visit my shop, everything grinds to a halt. Yet they're in the middle of a show making 25 unique parts. And I was like, this is the dream, right? This is the dream of automation to me. Is like, I am not capable of talking to people and running a mill. Like, it's one or the other.
Cool.
Yeah, it's very cool. I like those particularly too, because there's a decent amount of cost, right? I think they advertised it as $175 additional to the 5-axis machine. However, that's pretty competitive with a cell or something, and usually those cells are a lot less flexible.
Yes.
Than you have to like have a specific type of vise or something. And this was literally just pieces of, I think, aluminum just laying in a big thing that got picked up and put in, and I would assume kind of hopefully continues to be that flexible beyond their one demo, I suppose. But I love those kind of things where it's like, it doesn't feel DIY, but it's like, this is a solution that's not really narrow in its capacity.
Yeah. That's cool. Just thinking about how I can put a sander on one of those IGES robots. I have to have a look.
Easy.
Check out the specs.
Right. Have it sandel.
Yeah, on a little track. It runs up and down the lathe. Adds an axis, but whatever.
Right.
What's new in Software Corner?
Oh, that old thing. Yeah. Software Corner for me is... For the first time yesterday in public, I had a great conversation about AI. I feel like all my conversations have been very insular.
Was it with an AI?
With you or other friends in industry who are kind of using it, tinkering with it. But,
you weren't chatting with AI in public?
And for the first time, like, had a coffee shop conversation down the street with someone, and we got chatting about it, and she was really into it and like uses it, daily drives it heavily in her life, and it was just really refreshing to chat to someone who's sort of in there and really enjoying it and actively using it, which was cool. Right. But she was using ChatGPT for all their stuff. And I've noticed myself over the last week still using the ChatGPT desktop app quite heavily. I think it's because the phone app as well, because there's a little bit too much friction with the sim theory, just because it's browser based. I like what they're trying to do, but that's amazing how much that little bit of extra friction of like a little bit of lag or a little bit of hang time or not being able to quite as natively like flow context to context in a conversation or image back to text and text back to image like you can, like become accustomed in the ChatGPT models.
Yeah.
I'm interested to see how you're going with that.
I still use ChatGPT primarily. And I don't know if my subscription hasn't run out yet, but I've seen no difference. Yeah. And I also have the previews.
The new models.
Of the new, which I haven't really tried much. 01, the worst names of all time.
Users Advanced Reasoning. I do not have access to those. Interesting.
So I must still have a little bit of, which I haven't really thought of to try, but I've been using it for some coding reasons. And yeah, the thing that really kills me, like I love the idea of sim theory. They've got to add contextual conversations. It is almost useless to me otherwise. That's like that is probably the largest innovation to me of what I like to use LLMs for, is the like keep talking about the same idea repeatedly. And I think even to the point where like, unless they stick with this, like they want you to have a unique conversation every time you push enter. That is not of my interest right now. Like I want it to be like continuing a thought as I go along and then start a new thread if I want to. So that's been tough to like, I haven't really adapted, honestly.
Yeah, I feel like if you're staying in text form, the flow along's fine. It's when you're told, like for me, it's just if I'm tool calling and I'm like, cool, I want to spin that idea into an image and then reflect on that image and then continue in text and faff around between, tool calling. That's where I find it. I get frustrated with that lack of continuity. But I find if I'm sticking just in text, I quite like being able to switch models, honestly, if I'm not happy with the response of, GPT-4o Mini, just mid-conversation being able to switch to back to Claude Sonnet or even one of the Llama models.
Don't you lose the context when you do that too, though?
Stays.
Oh, I feel like maybe I haven't tried it again, but I feel like when I originally tried that, it didn't work. But
interesting.
Currently, we do have, I don't know even how to say this, O1 Preview and O1 Mini in SimTheory.
Yeah, they have brought them in. I just logged into my GPT, browser account of ChatGPT, and I do have access to those preview models. I'm so curious to try. I haven't done anything with the O1 models yet. Have you noticed any real difference in their responses?
I honestly haven't thought about it enough. I think I clicked into it once or twice, but I haven't thought of the
question.
I haven't gone to it intentionally.
Yeah. Already I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to open up and go, what do I ask you? The new best intelligence in the world? What am I going to use you for?
How do I use you?
How many R's in strawberry? Oh, right. Good. Thanks.
Yeah. I've had a little experience with, I was using the beta of iOS 18, and then somehow in the last week, I just got the full version, I guess. They went past the betas and now they're not public yet, I guess.
The Apple Intelligence, is it there?
But it's been working. No. I've heard that that's not happening until 2025. Come on. Which is super disappointing to me. That is the thing I want. Other than that, now I can text people. Maybe this is an America thing. I can text people that don't have iOS, and I can send them images like Android phones. That actually works now, and I can see them typing.
Oh, really?
Which was not a thing here prior, and then there was an EU lawsuit that pushed it to be a thing. So you can change the flashlight to a lower dim, the torch.
I do like that. I do like that. It's my most used function on my phone. It's the flashlight, honestly.
Do you remember when there used to be paid apps for that? I think there's still subscription models that people are still paying from early days.
When there was no torch and you just used the brightness on your phone on the screen to see where you're going.
No, there was that too. I do that, but I mean, before they had an app to be able to turn it on, it was just for flashing, right? You couldn't turn on the flashlight thing on the back without taking a photo. And so there was apps that you had to pay for to turn on the flashlight, and there's still people paying for those. It's like AOL. So good.
Insert dial up. Come here. I better go tidy my bench. Because it's so disgusting.
Disgusting. Let's see.
Yeah.
Well. Yeah.
Cool bananas.
Mm-hmm. Mind.
Hit the button.
I'm still tired for sure. Hit the button.
Whoosh.